is the greatest number that we can divide into 16 and 14? If we look at our multiple choice, we only have two options. So do we think that number is going to be a 2, or do we think that's going to be a 14? 2. Because we can divide 14 by 14, but we cannot divide 16 by 14. So we're going to automatically cross out those last two. So now we have two options left. So we have a 50-50 shot at getting this right. The only difference between these two is that this one says that we can take out 1x, where the second one says we can take out 2x's. So which one do you think is true, looking at what we have? Can we take out 1x or can we take out 2x's? So for this first one, there's a 16, and then there's 3x's and 2 y's, and then we have a 14, 1x, and 1 y. So do they both have 2 x's? Yes or no? Do they both have 2 x's? No. This second term only has 1x, and you can't take away what it doesn't have. So the only GCF we would have would be 1x, because they both have at least 1x, and they both have the 1y. So which one would you choose, A or B? A. Good job. All right, so now let's go to our notes. Babacar, are you okay? You need to go to the nurse? Okay. All right, so let's go to page 10, and let's see if you all remember, first period remembered, which I was kind of surprised by because we haven't done this in a while. Simplifying radicals, okay? Now we are going to do something new. We are going to multiply, which is something we didn't do last semester, but the process is pretty similar to what we started with. So let's go ahead and jump in, and let's look at questions. I want to do B and C. So I want you to build a cake with the 32. So take that 32 and build your cake. Remember, you're dividing by prime numbers all the way to the top. So take a couple minutes or a couple seconds and divide until we get to the top. So let's review how to do that. We're going to start with 2. 2 goes into 32 16 times. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 2 goes into 4 2 times. And 2 goes into 2 1 time. So when you don't see a number, that means that the index is 2. So we're going to circle pairs. So we have 1, 2 pairs. So that would be 2 times 2. And we had 1 left out that did not have a friend. So that one has to stay. And then we also have 5 z's. And I did not think about this, but a z and a 2 look pretty much the same. So I'm going to put a line through my z. Go ahead, circle your pairs. So if you have 5 people, how many pairs can you make? Show me with your fingers how many pairs you made. Yep, 2 pairs. Good job. So we had 1, 2, so that means z squared. And then we also had the 1z that has to stay, and it's going to stay under the hood or under the radical with the 2. All right, whenever you take out more than 1 pair, we have to multiply them together. So that 2 times 2 is going to give us a 4z square root 2z. And that would be our final answer. Any questions? All right, let's look at C. Build your cake with the 12 till you get to a 1 at the top. So 2 goes into 12 6 times. 2 goes into 6 3 times. And 3 goes into 3 1 time. So we're looking for a pair. So this is my pair. That can come out. And then when we make our square root, the 3 has to stay. Because that 3 didn't have a partner to leave with. So we have only one x. And you cannot make a pair with 1, so that x has to stay with the 3. And then I have 9 y's. Go ahead, circle your pairs. And show me with your fingers how many pairs you made. 4 pairs. Good job. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be y to the 4th. And then this 1y did not have a partner. So it has to stay with the 3 and the x. Let me make that bigger. And that would be your final answer. All right, so now that we remember how to simplify, let's go ahead and add a step, which is multiplying. So for the next examples, because there's 2, we have to multiply them first, and then we simplify. So let's look at question D. You're going to start by multiplying the numbers in front. So we have a 3 and we have a 2. Let's multiply that and put that number in front. That's a 6. And then let's make our square root. Multiply 5 times 10. And what is 5 times 10? 50. And then you're going to multiply x squared and x to the 4th. So 2 plus 4 is 6. So now that we have multiplied, we're ready to simplify it. So let's build our cake with the 50 and then circle our pairs with the 6 x's. So I'm going to give you a minute to do that. All right, so whose cake looked like my cake? Good. So we had a pair of 5s. So we already have this 6 that's on the outside. That's already hanging out outside. But now I have a pair of 5s that's also going to come outside with the 6. Let's make our radical. And so far we have a 2 that's going to stay under. Show me with your fingers, if you have 6 people, how many pairs can you make with 6 people? Yep, 3. 1, 2, 3. Do we have any left out? Anybody left? Nope. So we have x to the 3rd on the outside. So the only thing we need to do is clean up anything left out. So this 6 times 5, we need to multiply them together. What is 6 times 5? So we have to take the 6 and multiply it by the 5, which is going to give us 30, x cubed, and the square root of 2. And that would be our final answer. All right, let's look at question E. So we're going to start off by multiplying and then we simplify. So we're going to take, there's an invisible 1 right here. So 2 times 1 is 2. Make your radical. And then you're going to multiply 4 times 6, which is 24. And then I have 1y and 3 y's. So all together we have 4. So let's make your cake with the 24. Circle your pairs with your 4 y's. No, you only multiply the numbers on the outside. So if you see there's no number, you don't see a number, there's a 1. So we can't, yeah, and then what's under is multiplied together. You can't multiply something on the outside. So we start by dividing the 24 by 2. 2 goes into 24 12 times. 2 goes into 12 6 times. 2 goes into 6. How many times? 3 times. 3 goes into 3 1 time. So we have a pair. This is what I have a pair of. That's going to come out. So this 2, I'm going to add another 2. So under the radical, we have to multiply what's left out. So this 3 didn't have a partner and this 2 didn't have a partner. So when you have more than one number, you multiply them together. So 2 times 3 will give us what? What's 2 times 3, y'all? 6. So that's going to stay. If you have 4 people, how many pairs, show me with your fingers, can you make with 4? How many pairs can you make with 4? 2. So we have 1, 2, nothing left out. So that would be a y squared. All right, so now we're ready to clean it up because it's a little messy. We're multiplying 2 times 2. 2 times 2 gives us 4. And then I have y squared and then the square root of 6. And that would be our final answer. All right, what you think so far? Thumbs up, sideways, down. Sideways, some ups. Okay, let's keep practicing. A couple more and then we'll end for today. So let's look at question F. So in front of this is an invisible 1. So we're taking that 1 times 4, which is 4. And then we're multiplying 5 times 2. So now we're building what's underneath the radical. So 5 times 2 is 10. I have 2 pizzas and 1 pizza. 2 plus 1 gives us 3. So let's go ahead, take that 10, build your cake. So for the 10, we start off with 2, and then we have a 5. Do we have any pairs? Yeah, so that means that the entire 10 has to stay. So underneath the radical, I have to keep that 10. Has to stay. Now I have 3 pizzas. How many pairs can I make with 3? Just 1. So 1 can come out. P to the first, that means 1 pair that can come out. But then there's 1 that has to stay under the square root with the 10. And that is your final answer. All right, I want to give you a couple minutes to try to do G. I'm going to come around and see what they look like. So everyone work on question G. Let's see what it looks like. All right, let's go ahead and multiply. So we're multiplying the numbers outside, which is 2 and -4, which gives us a -8. Then we're multiplying our radicals. So I'm multiplying these two together. So when I look under the radical, I have a 6, and there's an invisible 1 here, which means I have the square root of 6. And when I add m squared and m squared, I have 4 m's. When you make your cake with the 6, we didn't get any pairs. 6 does not have a pair. So that entire 6 has to stay. But what the m's, how many pairs could you make with 4 m's? 2. So the m squared, that can come out with the 8, with the -8. So you have -8 m squared, and then the square root of 6. All right, let's look at H. And these are our last two. So let's go ahead and start off by multiplying. I'm gonna give you a couple minutes and I'm gonna come around and look again. You're multiplying the numbers in front. So this 1 is being multiplied by the -5, and then you're multiplying what's under the radicals together. You can't multiply a number that's on the outside by a number that's on the inside, okay? So take a minute, multiply it, and then build your cakes. This one has a tall cake because 15 times 8 is 120. So you're gonna have a tall cake. Divided by 2, and so you can't divide it by 2 anymore. And then you go to 3. Then you divide it by 3. Then you divide it by 3. There you go. All right, this is a tall cake. So when we multiply it, we end up with a -5 on the outside. And then I have the square root of 120, and then 2 pizzas and 1 juice. Okay, the 0 did not show up. I keep saying I'm gonna invest in an Apple Pen. I don't know. Okay. All right, so there we go. Let's build our cake with the 120. So you always start by dividing it by 2. And you stick with 2 until 2 doesn't work anymore. Then you move to 3. And when 3 doesn't work anymore, then you go to 5. Okay, so this is my cake. I had 1 pair, and that's 1 pair of 2s. That can come out with the -5. So I have a -5 times 2, that's on the outside. And then under the radical, these 3 numbers that don't have a pair, they need to be multiplied together. So multiply 2 times 3 times 5. And that's the number that has to stay under the hood. So 2 times 3 times 5 is, what is it? 30. Now let's look at our variables. I have 2 pizzas. And I have 1 juice. So I can make 1 pair that can come out. But with the juice, I can't make a pair. So it has to stay. So the last thing we need to do is clean it up. So that would be -10p and then square root of 30j. Who had that for their answer? Anybody? All right, one more question and then we're finished for today. Go ahead and do I. Multiply and then simplify. Gabe, can we put our phone away? We're not quite finished yet, almost. Okay, so when you build your cake, did it look like this? Who had their cake look like that? Start off with a 2, and then after 2 doesn't work, then we go to 3, and then after 3 doesn't work, then we go to 5. Okay, so we have a pair of 3s that can come out. So I have -6 times 3. Then I make my square root. This 2 has to stay. And then I have 4 x's. Show me with your fingers how many pairs can you make with 4 x's. So that would be an x squared. And let's clean it up. -6 times 3 is -18. X squared square root of 2. And that would be our final answer. Okay, so I want to make sure I'm clear with these last few minutes. A lot of people think it's time to just put away and watch TV. That's not what this time is for. This time is for you to work on your homework, okay? So currently there's 3 assignments. You have homework 0, homework 1, which is due tomorrow, and homework 2, which you picked up today. Can you write that is due on Friday? So I want you all to use this time to work on your homework, because you know there's going to come a day where I offer extra credit. And if you're working on it a little bit every day, then you'll be finished and you can take advantage of that extra credit.